Hey guys and girls, how's it going? Hope you guys had a great week. So I'm back with another review on E3 this week, and this one is on the Sony E3 conference. Now, this one was very different to the Microsoft conference. Pretty much, I'm pretty sure Sony trolled Microsoft and were like, we're going to be revealing the PlayStation Neo. Oh wait, no we're not. Trolling! Pretty much the Sony conference was just about games, and more games. It was very similar to last year's conference in that it was full of surprises. It was this whole PlayStation concept of making dreams come true and that kind of thing. Now, I have to say that the setting of the Sony conference this year was just epic. They had a live orchestra. A brilliant composer by the name of Baron McCreary, who is the composer for a little known game that got revealed, which I'll be talking about later. But yeah, it was so cool having a live orchestra and just the build up to it. They started off by playing this really epic song, and it just built it up, and you're just like, oh my god, what's coming? And it was just so cool. It was just so cool having a live orchestra, and it must have been absolutely amazing to be there. I'm so jealous of the people that got to be there and got to experience that. So let's talk about the games, of course, guys, because you know that's what we're interested in, right? We're gamers. So I'm going to start with the games that we know are coming, and then I'm going to talk about the reveals that took place at the conference. So let's start with the games that we know about. Well, we got to see more on Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, this game, guys, looks so beautiful. I'm so excited for this game. Like, words cannot express. Look at my smile. Words cannot express just how excited I am for this game. It looks absolutely incredible. I can't wait to find out more about it. The world looks awesome. I'm super hyped to find out more about the main character, Aloy, find out her background, because apparently there's a lot of mystery surrounding her background, and obviously where these robotic dinosaurs have come from and what's happened to the Earth. But we got to see a lot more gameplay, which was really cool. We actually got to see some new features. So we got to see a little bit more crafting that you can do in the game. There are definitely more RPG elements to the game than I was expecting. And we got to see Aloy actually take over some kind of like creature called a broadhead that ends up becoming like a mount that you can ride. And we got to see how she did that. And you can actually use it in the middle of combat as well, which is really cool. So we got to see a lot more of that. But oh my god, guys, Horizon Zero Dawn just looks amazing. It looks beautiful. It looks awesome, and I cannot wait to play it. Really can't wait to play it. But yeah, that looks so good. I'm hyped just even thinking about it. We also got to see The Last Guardian. Now, we got a very short trailer. We didn't get to see any gameplay. There was more gameplay at last year's E3, obviously, that we got to see. But what we did get, guys, was a release date, and The Last Guardian is officially coming out, guys. It is here. It is not far away. It is coming out on October 25th this year. Like, oh my god, that's like 4 months away until we can actually play The Last Guardian, and this game just looks so beautiful. It looks emotional as hell. It looks awesome, and I know I'm gonna be a wreck. I'm gonna be an emotional wreck when I'm playing this game. I just know it's gonna happen. But yeah, it looks so good, and I think just that release date, man, just that release date, finding out when the game's coming out, the reaction to the crowd in the conference was epic. Just everybody shouting and screaming and cheering, and yeah, so October 25th, guys, The Last Guardian will be here. So those were the things that we were expecting to find out about, but there were a lot of new reveals. There were actually a lot of new games this year that we didn't know about, and I think in this way Sony might have possibly beaten Microsoft in this way, because Microsoft didn't have any new surprises, whereas we did in the PlayStation 1. So, I mean, the conference from start to finish was just game after game after game after game. It was so fast paced. There was so much content. It was insane. But let's talk about some of the new reveals that we found out, which are just epic in every way. So the first major new reveal, which started right at the beginning, is a new God of War game. A new God of War is coming, guys. It's probably going to be sometime in 2017. We got to see an older Kratos sporting a wicked ass beard, and it just looked really cool. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be set in the Norse gods, set in Valhalla, because one of the monsters definitely referenced Valhalla. So is Kratos going to be taking on the likes of Odin and Thor? That's so cool. And he did have this kind of axe which reacted very similar to Thor's hammer, and that you could throw it and pull it back, and it just looked OP. But what was really interesting for me, guys, was we actually got to see a little boy, which I think is Kratos' son, and we actually got to see him interact with him. So we might actually get to see a side of Kratos that we haven't seen before, which is a father. And Kratos just looked more emotional and more sensitive than we've ever seen him. And there's one bit where his boys sat down and he's going to reach for his shoulder and he just pulls back, and it just is little things like that. It was so interesting to see in that character that we all know, because we know Kratos is just being a badass, you know, violent, gore, guts, just incredible, like just ripping the hell out of the Olympian gods. So to see him in this way is very, very, very different. But it made me actually want to go back and play all the God of War games. Now, I haven't actually played all of them, so I jumped onto the PlayStation Now and actually rented God of War Ascension, which is a prequel. Then I think I might actually play 1, 2, and 3 back through just to get hyped for it. But oh my God, God of War. I'm so excited. It looks incredible. It really does. So the next one that was revealed as well, a brand new game, was Detroit Become Human. So this is the next game from Quantic Dream. And I just love them. I absolutely love their games. I'm currently in the middle of playing Heavy Rain and really enjoying it. I'm then going to jump onto Beyond Two Souls as well, which I do hear is not as good, but I still want to check it out. Detroit Become Human looks incredible. The idea is you play as an android, I think, and it looks like you're some kind of like hostage negotiator, and it just showed like all the different things that you could do and the 1,000,001 different endings and bad endings and good endings that you could get from like investigating and things. And it just looked incredible. It looked beautiful. The world looks interesting. And yeah, I'm very, very excited to play it. Now, there's no release date on it whatsoever. It's probably going to be sometime in 2017. But yeah, I'm very interested to find out more. We also got to see another game called Days Gone, which is looks like a kind of a zombie style survival horror game. And we got to see like a cinematic trailer at the beginning, which was like 2 guys on like a motorcycle. I suppose you're in like a biker gang or something. But yeah, at the end we actually got to see some gameplay trailer footage, and it's like nothing we've seen before in terms of zombies. These are like lemming zombies. Like you're just fighting them off and they're just coming in hordes and hordes and hordes, and you have no choice but to run away, and you just see them in mass numbers like push through a door and break over barriers and clamber up, and you know that he tries to think like narrow them down and to shoot them and kill them into like a little tunnel type thing. But it looks really fun. Actually, it looks really cool, and I like the whole idea of like zombies being like a horde. Usually in a lot of zombie games, you know, when you take out 1 or 2 zombies in the head, usually, you know, you're safe. You don't have that many zombies, nor are they that quick. So that was really interesting to see, and it looks fun. It looks really, really fun. So Days Gone looks like a good time generally if you're a zombie fan. We also heard that there's going to be a Crash Bandicoot remastered edition that's going to be coming out. So people reacted to that brilliantly, because Ratchet and Clank, when that got redone, was brilliant. That Ratchet and Clank game is such a good game, and that was done so well. So the idea that they could do the same with Crash Bandicoot is an incredibly exciting one. We also got to hear about a new Spider-Man game, which is coming from Insomniac Games. Now, I am always like hesitant about Spider-Man games simply because there's been so many hit and misses with Spider-Man games in the past. Some have been great, some have been not brilliant. Usually the ones that are based on the movies tended to be kind of crap and not very well done. I think the best Spider-Man game I ever played was Shattered Dimensions, which is where you get to play as like 3 different Spider-Men. I think you play as like the normal one that we're used to, the Peter Parker one. Then you play as like futuristic Spider-Man 2077, I think it is. And then you got to play as Spider-Man Noir, which was really cool, sort of stealth, black and white type thing. But that's the best Spider-Man game I've ever played. But so I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's one of my favorite heroes. I absolutely love him. And I love swinging web shooting and web swinging and everything, and yeah, you know, he's just an adrenaline rush and is fun to play with. But I hope it will be a good game. I mean, it's being done by Insomniac Games, and they've produced some brilliant games in the past. Obviously, they're more famous recently for Sunset Overdrive, and obviously the most recent Ratchet and Clank that came out. So, you know, those games were great. So I have high hopes for this Spider-Man game, and I'm hoping it'll be good. And the fact it's not based on the movie as well does it justice, does it credit. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I probably will get it because I'm a massive fan of Spider-Man. They also had a massive reveal at the conference as well. Hideo Kojima actually came out onto stage. It was so awesome to see him back at E3, and his entrance was just so epic as he walked down, and then he just sort of hushed the crannies and went, "I'm back." It was cool to see Hideo Kojima there, and yeah, and to see so much love for him because he's such a brilliant, amazingly talented director and producer, and it's great to see him working on some new stuff. And we did actually get to see some information. We actually got to see a trailer of his new game called Death Stranding, which has what's his name from The Walking Dead? I forget the actor's name, but oh my god, but it has him from The Walking Dead in it, and it looked just as trippy and crazy as we would expect from a Hideo Kojima title. So I know nothing about the game, but I am very, very intrigued to find out more. And I'm sure it's going to be a trippy ride from start to finish. But I'm sure we'll find out more about that as the year progresses. Now, there was some hardware at the conference, not as much as at Microsoft, but there was definitely some information on the new PlayStation VR headset. And we do actually have a release date for that now. It's coming out in October the 13th this year, and you can buy it. I think it's $399 to buy it as a starter set. Now, they have announced as well that there are going to be 50 titles that will be coming out from its release date up until the end of the year, and they also showed us a couple of those titles which looked really cool. They showed one which is called Farpoint, which seems to be like you're on this like Mars type world, and it looked beautiful, and they showed some of the monsters and things, and that looked quite cool. It's like a first person shooter, I think. They also showed a Star Wars VR game which looks epic. You're actually in an X-Wing flying in space battles in VR. I don't think you can get better than that, guys, to be honest. They also showed a Batman Arkham VR experience where you actually get to don the cowl and play as Batman. Though I don't know how that's really going to work in terms of like combat. Maybe it'd be good for like detective puzzle solving, but in terms of the combat, I guess it remains to be seen. But that should be quite cool. We did hear Joker's voice, and it sounded like Mark Hamill, to be honest. So I'm wondering whether Mark Hamill is voice acting for this experience. It'd be really cool if he was anyway. They also showed a Final Fantasy 15 VR experience as well, where you actually get to play as Prompto, and I think you've got like a pistol or a gun, and you can see the other characters and see the monsters, the behemoth. So you actually get to play that from as a virtual experience. And then finally, probably one of the biggest announcements in terms of VR was the fact that Resident Evil 7 is coming, and that you can actually play that game completely in VR from start to finish. That it does actually support VR in there, and it looked creepy as anything. And it looked like Resident Evil was going back to its roots as well, like really sinister, really creepy, like kind of like Silent Hill style from the looks of it. But yeah, look really good. Now, there were a couple of third-party titles that we did find out about, that we did see more on. Obviously, Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens, that was there. I don't know why they were pushing that, because that's coming out very soon. And I don't know, I don't feel like there's a need to promote that, to be fair, but it still looked fun, and the Lego games are a lot of fun. And I actually played the demo the other day and really enjoyed it, and I love Star Wars Force Awakens. So yeah, I mean, it looks cool, but I don't really think that they needed to waste time at the conference to promote it personally. The other one that we did see more on was Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which is which is obviously being promoted by PlayStation at the moment. Now, I've got to say, I know a lot of people have criticized it and don't like the whole direction it's taking in terms of going incredibly futuristic. But I've got to say, the game looked good. Like the graphically it looked incredible. The actual space battle looked awesome. The non-gravity combats, the you know what you could do. It looked like fun. It looked like a roller coaster ride. It looked really epic, and I've got to say it did look cool. But I know a lot of people are not happy because it's futuristic. But for me, it looked quite interesting, to be fair, and yeah, I'm going to keep an open mind with it. I don't think I'm probably going to get it released because there are too many games coming out, guys, this year, especially in October and November. And I don't know where I'm going to find the money nor the time to be playing all these games. So Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is a lot lower on my list of games that I obviously want to play. So those were the things that we were told at the Sony E3 conference. Now, what are my general thoughts on it? Well, actually, I loved the conference this year. I thought Sony did a fantastic job. I actually think it was better than last year. I don't know. It's hard because last year there were some amazing announcements like the Final Fantasy VII remake, which wasn't at the conference this year. We didn't get to see anything about that this year, which is disappointing, definitely. But I thought, the Sony conference was good. I thought their decision not to promote the PlayStation Neo was a good one. I think E3 is a venue where you can promote games. You can actually show games and give developers a chance to talk about them. I think that's what you should be promoting at the conferences. And then the hardware you can reveal later on, privately or in your own kind of like video announcement, sort of like what Nintendo Direct do. I think it's also good to actually have the hardware physically so you can demonstrate it physically, what it looks like. What does this mean in terms of the difference in quality? So I think that's what they have said at Sony, is that they are going to be revealing about the PlayStation Neo later, but they're actually going to wait until they have something a little bit more concrete and something that's built so they can actually physically demonstrate what they mean with this more powerful tech. And I think that is actually a good route for them to go. So overall, I thought the Sony conference was fantastic. The games were brilliant. There was a nice balance between games that we were expecting to see. There was some hardware there in terms of the VR, so it was good to see that. And then obviously the reveals were fantastic and the reaction and response from the crowds were epic. So this conference was just a whirlwind. It didn't start from start to finish. So compared to the Microsoft conference, I would say the pacing was a lot better. It was game after game after game after game. There was no point in there where you got bored or where you weren't interested in what was going on. So, if I was to compare the two, I would say that I actually think that Sony had the better conference in terms of the games that they were promoting. But also Microsoft had a lot of good ideas, especially in terms of crossplay. So I've got to give them credit there. But overall, I do think Sony probably won compared to the conferences. And for me, Sony have a lot more interesting original IPs coming out in comparison to Microsoft at the moment. I think Sony, if we're to list them off, I mean, you've got Horizon Zero Dawn, The Last Guardian, God of War, Detroit Become Human, Days Gone, new Crash Bandicoot remastered, new Spider-Man. There's just a ton. That's 7 right there, and that's not even counting the Final Fantasy VII remake. There's actually a ton of things coming out on the PlayStation 4. If we're to compare on the Xbox, they've got Gears of War 4, they've got Scalebound, they've got Crackdown, which they didn't mention at the conference, which I think was a massive mistake for them. So there are a couple of games that are coming on Xbox One, but I think actually PlayStation actually have a very, very strong lineup of games coming out in 2016 and 2017. So at the moment, they definitely seem to be winning in terms of the games that they are offering to their fans and to potential customers anyway. But those are my general thoughts on it overall. You guys might have a different opinion, and that's totally fine. But generally, I think PlayStation did better this year round compared to Microsoft. So anyway, those are my thoughts on the conference. What did you guys think of the conference? What games are you excited about? What did you enjoy about the conference? Let me know in the comment section below. Take care, and as always, guys, happy gaming. Yeah.